हेलो गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन। आज है यहाँ पे मेरा सेकंड डे और अभी मैं जा रहा हूँ ये डी ब्लॉक में 7th फ्लोर पे ही अपना इवेंट है और ये वाली बिल्डिंग में अपना 11th फ्लोर पे होटल था जहाँ पे मैं रुका था। सारा एक्सपीरियंस तो मैंने आप लोगों को लास्ट ब्लॉग में दिखा दिया। अभी आज के ब्लॉग में मैं आप लोगों को बताने वाला हूँ कि ये इवेंट में क्या है और यहाँ पे क्या होने वाला है। तो चलिए अभी जाते हैं वहाँ पे और हमारे फ्रेंड से मिलते हैं शरद से। तो ये पहुंच गए हम लोग, यहाँ पे रजिस्ट्रेशन डेस्क है। मैं कॉल करता हूँ शरद को। तो ये रहा मेरा नाम, शरद भाई ने ऑलरेडी ले लिया है। हाय शरद, गुड मॉर्निंग। हाय। सो हाउ वाज द मार्केट? शरद ने यहाँ पे मेरी जगह रिजर्व रखी थी और ये मतलब पहले ही 3 रो में है तो मज़ा आएगा यहाँ पे। एंड हाय,
we have met before in the event I have attended your conference in Mumbai. I studied in UIC.
So you are coming this event?
Yeah, this
22nd event, on this 22nd which we are doing.
Yes.
You are coming on the event?
No. This event I'm not.
Okay.
Yours I'm not attending.
तो यहाँ पे अभी रजिस्ट्रेशन की सारी प्रोसेस चालू हो गई है और 8:04 हो गया है। अच्छा, तो अभी जाते हैं अंदर, ऑडिटोरियम में बैठते हैं। 8:30 को प्रोग्राम स्टार्ट हो जाएगा और ये कौशिक है हमारे फॉलोअर। यू वर्क विथ screener.in। तो मैंने इसको बोला कि यार भाई क्या वेबसाइट बनाया है, एकदम ज़बरदस्त। बस वही सारी बातें चल रही थी, अब जाएंगे अंदर। सो मैं मेरी जगह पे आके बैठ गया हूँ। ये इनका किट है। ये किट में अपने को मिला है इनका ये बुक, जो मुझे हर साल 2 तो मिलता ही है। और ये एम प्रॉफिट का कुछ है, ये है ब्रोशर है।
But if it turns out to be a heterogeneous sector, which many are in India, the outcome of investment could differ from the individual company to company. The classic example could be aviation, right? In the same 5-6 years period, you may find someone doubling and tripling and someone going bankrupt. Maybe triggering a thought that are we buying or are we proposing an idea which has recently fallen the most? That's a very amateurish way of doing investment. A fan guy and a washing machine guy in the same sector, right? But sometimes we do that in the consumer durables, home electricals kind of category. But some of these guys who try to attempt making over from one leg of this business to other leg of business, you can't make a Dixon kind of story to look like Whirlpool or vice versa.
We think it's a good multi-bagger idea, and there are certain ingredients what a company can to become a multi-bagger idea. We see this company has in it. So I'll just take you through the ideas. And the company has been promoted by Mr. Dulari Mohan Rao. He's a good technocrat as a IIT Kharagpur graduate. And the way they have built this business and they have thought through this business, this reminds me about a company called Natco Pharma. Although they are very different, Natco Pharma is seen as a step ladder sort of a business where they click on one big. I think CDMO is a very interesting space. If you ask me one sector which is a clear beneficiary out of this big grand theme which we called as a China plus one, although it's not occurred in many sectors which it was hoped for, but one sector where it looks like this can work, this is in CDMO. And why it is? We feel that
recently the stock in this current fall has fallen by almost 20 to 25% from the current levels. So just a brief history about this company. There was a Swedish active shareholder. He was actually instrumental in, he was actually putting more pressure on ABB to kind of demerge the power grid business because they wanted to be present only in the automation business. And the Swedish active shareholder was kind of successful and instrumental in trying to demerge the power grid business. And ABB finally decided to put the business on sale. And Hitachi from Japan actually went and bought this company. And in India also the transaction happened, and this company was renamed as Hitachi Energy Limited. Wind energy projects, which of course has not taken off in India, but as of now with power transmission, power distribution, so they work across the value chain as far as the power sector is concerned.
So being SEBI registered, this is mandatory, but I'm not going to bore you by reading all this.
And I hope my timer starts now and not. Okay, so what is the big mantra you've heard from the veterans globally or in India? Right from the greats, Mr. Jhunjhunwala to Mr. Buffett. Buy great companies that compound earnings over the long term and we'll be fine, right? But then they add a caveat. They say that if you buy it at an obscene valuation, then God bless you. You're not going to make probably any money for the next 10, 20 years. So we have to buy good companies and also at or below their reasonably calculated intrinsic value. So think about it. What is the way out? Should we always wait for a 2008 or 2020, probably 2025 in the making kind of crash? If not, what is the way out? And even if you're waiting for that opportunity, there is an opportunity cost of sitting on cash, right? What about that? And if not, how do we find interesting opportunities across market cycles? Even during raging bull markets, how do you find interesting bets where risk reward is in our favor? So when we were doing this exercise for Stalwart, we identified a pattern that has worked for us. And also we believe it's more of skill, which is like chess, and less of luck, which is like Ludo, and hence more repeatable. Transactions, we have 50% market share. They did 700 crores net profit with 40% ROE last year. And yet today it's available at its book value, right? Capital markets it's a service business. These guys trade generally at a PE multiple, and here's a company which is trading at its book value, right? Why is that the case? But 2008, they made some wrong moves. Funds went down. The whole AMC went south. It had zero AUM till 3 years ago. They revived it. It's already at 17,500 crores.
And the post the liberalization, it really took off. Compared to 1990, where it was one player. We ended up having quite a large number of players by year 2000. But I think originally it was business. It was part of the banks. Banks extended. But post 2010, we have seen more sort of independent wealth managers emerge and actually deliver value to clients at a very reasonable cash flow. Now these numbers may come down a bit if the market continues to be soft, but I think from a long-term perspective, it's a great investment in a way.
Yes, this is my investment philosophy. Right, my investment philosophy is very, very simple. That's all. Keep things simple. That's my philosophy. I normally invest in, say, 25 to 30 companies. Out of those 25 to 30 companies, say 15 to 20 companies form the core nucleus of my portfolio. Those 15 to 20 companies are all obvious companies. They are all bottom Nifty 50 only. Right. So I have a natural large cap bias. Now this is that company. Many of you might have bank account there. Kotak Mahindra Bank Limited. That's it. Right? This company, I need not say much about the company, you all know it's a bank. So in companies which are well researched, okay, in most of the companies this will converge. Okay, barring few sectors which are traded IPE, in almost all these sectors, this market cap growth in the longer run and the PAT growth in the longer run converge. Note that point, that's very, very essential. Okay, your Nifty has delivered 160% return. Your Nifty bank has also delivered 154%, but this company has actually underperformed, right? Valuations were high 5 years back, and then since your competitors started doing really well, the money flew there. So this company did not do well over the last 4 or 5 years. Added to that is the succession and other issues, right? But now, over the last 6 months, okay, there's a turnaround. Okay,
buy and hold. I generally am not a 10-year investor, so that's the caveat. My average in my last job where I managed Equirus Long Horizon Fund, our turnover was close to 24%, 25%. So by that definition, my average holding period is only 4 years. So which will not make me a long-term investor. So I'm an average time investor. And I was just admitting to Sir in the coffee break that if a stock doesn't perform for 2 odd years, I'll panic. So having said all the caveats, I think the time for probably this cyclical stock has come, and we could look at favorably at this stock over next couple of years. So this is India's largest poultry company. No prizes for guessing. It's Venky's India. So this is how the poultry industry supply chain works. I guess because this is not really covered and there are not too many listed companies, why I think chicken over a longer period will do well is that this is the cheapest cost of protein you can have, eggs and chicken. There is just no second substitute for the intake of protein in human beings.
There is a lot of differentiation between what a normal CDMO is there complexity behind it, what is the kind of what you call as diversification within the CDMO space. And I think one such idea that we own talks about each one of these nuances, and hopefully I'll be able to take you through this through the course of this presentation. So I'm going to talk about this company called Pyramid Pharma that came into being through the demerger from the parent entity roughly around close to 3 years back. So people have spoken about the CDMO as an opportunity for a while now, and why it's interesting basically comes from three core simple aspects. The cost of a scientist obviously determines how much you're going to be spent, as that was done in the balance sheet. And then there was a period of actual inspection related delay, and there was high inventory problems that the company had to deal with. Most of these problems are out in the last few quarters. And if you look at in terms of how the actual top line of the company can grow, today you're talking about roughly around a 9,000 crore top line. And in our view, this can actually double in the next 5 years.
Before sharing the idea, I thought I'll spend a few moments about how we think about this magic basket as an investment philosophy, right? So basically, there are many good businesses which either lack growth or are having challenges when it comes to a business cycle, right, or facing competition, right? But generally, they are good businesses. So to give you an example, the whole of the Tata Group, right, has been there in the business for a crazy amount of years, but was facing challenges pertaining to capital allocation, acquisitions, etc. But then, we saw N. Chandrasekaran joining in, taking the charge. And, we saw a lot of changes when it comes to the capital allocation policy, leadership changes, restructuring businesses which were not making money. And suddenly, we see a lot of improvements in whole of the Tata Group company, which leads to not only profitability improvement, but also multiple to re-rate. Right, so our idea is basically to figure out good businesses where there's lack of growth or facing challenges, which basically because of some change, right, can improve and can lead to accelerated growth, which basically can lead to multiple re-rating as well. Today's investment idea, which I'm going to speak about, is Timken India, which we believe is probably having some kind of magic that can happen if investment philosophy plays out. The disclosure over here is basically that we own this stock, we have been buying this stock, right? So to that, the views may be biased, right? So really that happened when the growth was coming by with margin expansion and a lot of consolidation in the last, in the last many years because of low growth and also the margins tapering off. Now, what's going to change over here, right? The investment philosophy, what we have, right, is basically that there has been a slowdown due to various reasons, inventory correction, the slowdown in the exports.
What to buy, how much to buy, when to buy, pay and then go, and when to come back next. Hospitals. The only business in the world where the seller has absolute bargaining power against the buyer. The buyer has no say in what is going to happen. The only thing the buyer needs to do is pay. So you don't leave till you pay. So the stock we are going to discuss is HCG, Healthcare Global Enterprises. Just before we get into some of the boring slides, I'll talk to you about super specialty. So if you look at the global ecosystem of healthcare, any country, pick a country of your choice. every country starts with multi-specialty providers. In the Indian context, that would be your Apollos, your Fortises, your Max Healthcares, your Wockhardt Hospitals, Zydus Hospitals. These would be your multi-specialty. So, that's a one-stop shop. You go, no matter whatever is wrong with you, they'll treat you, right? And in every country which has certainly got some evolved healthcare ecosystem, they do paternity, they do ortho, and they do cancer. This guy is only cancer, and he's at 45,000 rupee ARPOB, right? Which means if you ask Max, what is their cancer ARPOB? They won't give you the number. I can tell you, it's close to 1,30,000 rupees a day.
Right, so many degrees across coming up, but yet nothing comes across. We saw since morning a lot of ideas on the market cap ranging from 3.5 lakh crore. I have something, name of which I'll disclose at the end. Something which I've been tracking, having invested for last 6-7 years. 100% domestic sales. So footwear ka 100% is happening in India. Automotive, aftermarket and automotive OEM 70-30 ratio. Furnishing 90% domestic, 10% being exported currently. They have also now started their own brand as well. So good amount. Quality wise, no doubt the company is top. I mean, company is number one in quality. If you speak with any of their players, you'll know across. On pricing wise, they are losing to China. And that loss is not too big, right? I mean, if you look at the production cost and the export price, the loss is just 10%. In terms on natural leather is only growing 2% because of the hindrances which is available on the natural leather growth, animals related skin, and hence this will grow perpetually only for 1.5-2%. Final slide in terms of triggers. As of now, this is just data points which I'm presenting. Top three players contribute almost 35% of the industry, which is on the organized side of it. Our company having a capacity of 48.6 million meters. To me, everything is a story, right? Whatever I have told you today is a story. And how good you will be able to judge is how the company delivers. End of the day, story can be for short term. It's the number which has to play out in the mid to long term. Look at, I don't know, I mean, what will happen next quarter if you ask me, I have no clue. What happened last quarter, I have no clue. The company today is Mayur Uniquoters, which I'm presenting across manufacturing excellence, automotive leadership, and a potential re-rating candidate is what I believe in. Thank you so much, folks.
And we hold it in our AIF category 3 fund, the Niveshaay Hedgehogs fund. So firstly, why this sector? Why textiles as a sector? Because it's considered to be a pretty fragmented sector and often overlooked. So why this fund? Because this is the second largest employment generation in our country post-agriculture. It has, a lot of female workers are getting employed. We are the largest cotton manufacturer in the world. 11 to 12% of our export earnings come from exports. And apart from this, 65% of the we have a 65% market share in home textiles in the US. The inventory has reduced. Now the whole excess inventory has flushed out. And another thing, so it's more like a double movement for India right now because China plus 1 is the trend which was happening. Bangladesh plus 1 is also happening in the sense that because of the turmoil and instability in the country there is lot of supply chain disruptions in Bangladesh. I'm not saying that the entire transition will happen or Bangladesh will not get very high orders, but even if the incremental orders coming from all these brands come to other countries where India is very, very much in consideration. So a lot of demand because our base is very small, right? So both the Kitex garment is the listed one. So Kitex garment has a capacity of 4.32 lakh pieces per day. So the total revenue from this facility can come up to be 1,000 crores. And what they recently announced is that they are going to merge this because this was a very big problem. That Kitex Children is an unlisted company, and how all orders are being taken care of, what is the transparency level. So now they have merged Kitex Children with Kitex Garments,
which is high growth, tech enabled, content and e-learning solutions company. This company is based out of Madras. It has a rich legacy, been in business for 54 years. Micro cap stock, so market cap is 4,200 crores. current revenue run rate of 600 crores, which means trading at 7 times sales. 150 crores PAT, focus on PAT, 150 crores on a revenue of 600 crores, 25% margin, very profitable niche segment, and with lot of potential for growth. And there's upside potential because valuations are fairly reasonable. And the company is MPS, earlier known as Macmillan Publishing Services, based out of Chennai.
So I asked ChatGPT to give me an image, and I explained what the company is doing, and it gave me this image. Okay, so I just said it's a resilient company, also doing something for future. Please give me an image. I think it captured it pretty well. No, it's that DAL-E model which they're using, so that's the one. And it was also kind enough to put that CCL thing at the board there. So interesting. But anyways, so this is the company I'm going to talk about, resilience and future planning in progress. A very quick brief profile about the company. It's the largest manufacturer and exporter of instant coffee. A significant reduction. Okay, so what happened in this 22 to 24 year? Okay, first is this. This is 2009 to 2022 Robusta coffee prices, USD per metric ton. Now, generally, a commodity like coffee is a range-bound kind of a chart. It does not behave like a breakout stock price chart. It behaves like a range-bound stock price chart. Okay, so you don't really expect it to go berserk. Look at the volume numbers. On the volume numbers are growing 14%, 19%, 14%, so on and so forth. But since the coffee price has gone up dramatically, the revenue numbers, so the revenue growth is not coming because of something the company is doing. It's just happening because of the coffee prices. Fair point? But the gross margin has crashed. Why? I mean, it has to, because of the coffee prices again, raw material is gone. But interestingly, the gross profit per kg has actually improved over a period of time. Just because the base coffee price has gone up dramatically, and it is a cost.
Very quickly on the investment philosophy, like everyone else, I try to find strong businesses reasonably cheap. I'm a long-term investor, not by choice. But I ideally would want a 5-bagger in 5 months with 20% allocation, right? So that's my ambition. But typically the businesses that I buy have some or the other issue, either in the business front or in the promoter front, or in the capital structure or in the industry structure, industry tailwinds. Some or the other issue exists, and therefore I become long-term investor by choice, by compulsion. Right? All right, so again, this is not investment advice, this is the discussion purpose only. What I've tried to bring in is my insight. It is not an information on the company, or they don't do investor con calls or decks. This is my insight on the company. It might be wrong, so please don't buy the stock. This is just for discussion. Right, so Vadilal Industries, 30,780 rupees as of 1st December 2024, when the sun was brighter. Essentially because of SEBI, I can't tell you the latest price, but the latest price is lower. Right, so market cap about 2,700 crore, 18 times TTM PE, forward PE is about 15, EV EBITDA of 11, ROE, ROC 25, promoter holdings about 65%. So I don't want to do a reveal at the end of it as to what the thesis is about. So the summary is it's a reasonably cheap consumer business. So it's a steadily growing revenues in India, rapidly growing, highly profitable USA portfolio and the international portfolio, and possible optionalities if sellout happens. Right, and I'll go through each of them in detail. 11,000 crore market cap. It does the same profitability as Vadilal Industries. Right, Vector Foods does 140 crore PAT. Vadilal Industries also FY24 PAT was 146 crore. ADF Foods, it does 20% EBITDA margin, similar to Vadilal Industries. 5-year sales CAGR for across all the three companies about 15 to 18%. Vadilal Industries does double the EBITDA of ADF Foods, but is probably 1.5 times the market cap of Vadilal Industries. Right? So there is a lot of opportunity if volume and value unlocking happens.
अभी 3:40 हुआ है और लंच ब्रेक तो पड़ा था, लंच भी हो गया वहाँ पे, मतलब लंच ब्रेक में मैंने कोई वीडियो नहीं बनाया। अभी तक ऑलमोस्ट 15-16 स्पीकर्स ने अपनी स्टॉक्स बता दिए हैं, जो भी फुटेज है मैं आप लोगों के साथ शेयर कर रहा हूँ। सो बेसिकली ओवरऑल देखो, मेरा यहाँ पे आने का इंटेंशन यही होता है कि मैं जो स्पीकर्स है उन लोगों का माइंडसेट समझ सकूं कि वो कैसे फंडामेंटल के बेसिस पे वो स्टॉक को सिलेक्ट करते हैं और वो क्या ब्रॉडर पैरामीटर्स को देखते हैं। तो हाँ, अभी तो मज़ा आ रहा है। अभी मेरे ख्याल से ये इवेंट 6 बजे तक चलेगा, फिर यहाँ से मैं निकल जाऊँगा एयरपोर्ट पे, और अभी मैं आप लोगों को डायरेक्ट यहाँ से जब बाहर निकलूँगा तभी मिलूँगा। बिकॉज क्या है ना, बहुत सारे जन मिलते हैं, ऑलमोस्ट 700 लोग आए हैं यहाँ पे। बहुत सारे लोग जानते हैं जो यूट्यूब के थ्रू, आप जो हमें जानते हो मुझे, तो वो सारे लोग मुझे मिलते हैं, तो मैं उनसे बात करता हूँ, तो वीडियो बनाने का टाइम नहीं मिलता है। ठीक है, अभी जाता हूँ, चाय वगैरह पीता हूँ, कॉफ़ी पीता हूँ, चाय नहीं, और फिर से जाता हूँ वहाँ पे।
In Tamilnadu in Ranipet. So it's a company that is almost 60 years plus in terms of its age. They manufacture, they're into 3 segments: inorganic pigments, surfactants, and there is a very small segment for IT services. I will not talk about value. Now is at fair market value. So at every 31st March or 30th September, the number changes. So that distorts the ROE. So I removed the investment value here and looked at only core numbers, and of course removed the dividend number. Tirumala is not doing well, so there is not much dividend coming anyway. So in 2024, the business, the ROE declined because there was a high cost, inventory in the system was high, the utilizations were low, and as a result, the capex did not really utilize well. So the margins declined, and their ROE is also, the capex was there in the balance sheet, but did not yield much revenue. Only in FY25 is this year is when we see those numbers coming online in terms of productive revenue.
The profitability, which is the EBITDA per ton, as we measure it, is at its lowest in the last 15 years. The cement industry is not making profits, and when efficient players like Ramco and Ultratech are not making money, we can only assume what the bad players would be going through. This is the net realization trend. So as I said, I joined the cement industry in 2011. It was 5 rupees a kilo that time. It is still 5.5 rupees a kilo today. So for the last 10-15 years, net realization has gone nowhere. The market cap a few weeks ago was 7,800 crores. I'll just take you back to that slide. 7,800 crores is what Ultratech paid for Kesoram. This is the enterprise value. That had 10.8 million ton capacity. Birla Corp has double. Birla Corp is more closer to Orient Cement in size, efficiency, etc. So almost 2.5 times of Birla Corp is 2.5 times of Orient Cement is Birla Corp, and their market cap by and large is same with manageable debt.
But it's more an economic discussion. I think gold is very interestingly poised, and I've been tracking it for more than 25 years, so I thought I'll discuss my views. Gold is part of central bank reserves, but is it taking a currency role is the key point I'm taking, and it has investment implications for us. Disclaimer, it's a purely academic discussion, so please do take it accordingly. I'm not a registered investment advisor. And people say, I may hold stock here, practically everyone holds gold. So yeah, Indians are the most important holders of gold worldwide. So I discuss on these 4 broad themes. Gold is at all-time high, but we have a surprising level of investor interest, and I'll discuss what's going on. I want to talk a bit of the last 100 years history. Gold's history goes back millennia, but last 100 years is very important from my perspective. Across all ETFs and mutual funds worldwide, about 180 million ounces, 1 ounce is 31 grams, and the right side is the US gold price, the blue line. So this line is still 2022, and you can see that they go in tandem, and that's how investors behave, that when an asset class goes up, more money flows in, like it's happening in mutual funds. It should be the reverse, but that's not how investors behave. So till 22, ETFs became popular from 2004. Before that, ETFs were not popular worldwide. So this is the chart of US central bank reserves. India owns, any idea how many tons of gold? Indian central bank? About 800-900 tons. US owned 22,000 tons till 1970, and from $44 to $800 in 1980. So
Is something similar happening? Is a point I am kind of pondering over. There are no guarantees, obviously. They are kind of very powerful central banks whose interests are at play to maintain the current system.
Because I think we're all good fundamental investors. We want to understand how good a business is, right? And let's go through that take for a few minutes. Hopefully, all of you can hear me, right? So it's is it a good business, right? But let's just go through this. Fairly simple business, right? Which is Sanofi is actually among the top 3 multinational pharmaceutical companies in India. 5 of its brands are in the top leader. You ask any doctor or any of you are, suffer from diabetes, in all probability you will be using one of Sanofi's products, right? Absolutely the market leader in diabetes, which happens to be one of the largest therapy segments in India.
Audience might still be thinking कि एक और pharma idea है. So basically just a standard disclaimer before we start कि nothing in this presentation is a buy or sell recommendation. So the business that we are studying in last 5 years has grown its PAT from almost 16 crores to 62 crores. The sales have basically more than doubled, and basically not only just that, the return on equity of this particular business is 34% right now. And when it comes to debt, so it's a small cap company with 1400 to 1500 crores of market cap and nearly 200 crores of cash on the balance sheet. Asset turnover of the company is nearly 6 times. Return on capital employed of the company is nearly 38%. And the company, basically the question that arises कि इस time पे क्यों बढ़ रहे हैं? The answer is because I have this framework with pharma companies that I've been using for last, I think 6-7 years now, is that we like to study pharma companies when they do capex, because in pharma companies the pain is front-ended and the fruits are back-ended, and it's not like other industries, because you do the capex, you set up the plant, then there's a regulatory period. It has happened in Newland Labs, it might happen in Alti Pharma Labs, it has happened in so many other pharma companies. But unlike other businesses, what the company did is that when the stock price basically dropped, the company did a share buyback and the promoter didn't participate. Due to which what happened is that the shareholding of the promoter went up from 59.95% to almost 62 to 63%.
तो अभी 5:50 हुए हैं. मैं निकल रहा था. 2 लोगों के कुछ बाकी थे स्टॉक आइडिया देने के लिए, बट फ्लाइट है तो लेट हो जाएगा. और उबर सर्च कर रहा था तो बहुत ही 20 मिनट 25 मिनट का दिखा रहा था. तो ये जो भाई है हमारे सारे, ये भाई पुणे से हो सर? उल्लासनगर से है, मतलब सब मुंबई से ही है.
नवी मुंबई, नेरुल.
हाँ, तो ये सारे भाई लोग ने मुझे लिफ्ट दी है एयरपोर्ट तक. और आपकी फ्लाइट सेम है ना हमारी?
सेम फ्लाइट, सेम.
चलो तो अपना फ्लाइट में फिर मजे करेंगे. और
यस.
और लास्ट में भी 2 भाई बैठे हैं पीछे. मैं आप लोगों को सबसे इंट्रोड्यूस कराऊंगा जब हम उतर जाएंगे एयरपोर्ट के पास. एयरपोर्ट अभी हम लोग पहुंच गए हैं. अभी यहाँ पे सिक्योरिटी चेक इन का प्रोसेस कंप्लीट करते हैं और जाते हैं अंदर, कुछ खाते हैं. अभी 7:40 हो रहे हैं और हम लोग हमारे गेट के पास आ गए हैं. थोड़ा लेट हो गए थे, अपने को टैक्सी नहीं मिल रही थी. तो ये भाई जो थे, आपने वो एक्सेल ही किया था ऊबर का बुक. तो सर आपका नाम बताइए. और
नाम पंकज सिंह है. मैं बैंकर हूँ बाय प्रोफेशन और इन्वेस्टर बाय पैशन.
तो ये इवेंट कैसा लगा सर आपको?
इवेंट बहुत अच्छा इवेंट है. मेरे एक फ्रेंड ने मुझे इनवाइट किया था. मैं फर्स्ट टाइम तमिलनाडु इन्वेस्टर एसोसिएशन में आया हूँ और मैं आगे आता रहूँगा.
हाँ,
और बहुत लर्निंग हुआ और बड़ी अच्छी नेटवर्किंग हुई.
राइट. और सर भी है यहाँ पे. तो सर आप पहली बार आए थे, राइट?
मैं फर्स्ट टाइम आया हूँ.
आपको कैसा लगा?
बहुत अच्छा है. हर एक जो इन्वेस्टर है, जो डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टिंग कर रहा है, उनको जरूर यहाँ पे आना चाहिए. काफ़ी कुछ सीखने को मिलता है.
राइट. सर जी आप भी पहली बार आए थे ना?
यस, ये मेरा फर्स्ट टाइम.
तो आपका कैसा एक्सपीरियंस था?
एक्सपीरियंस अच्छा था. इट इज़ अ गुड एनवायरनमेंट इधर. काफ़ी अच्छे एक्सपीरियंस, इन्वेस्टर से इधर इंटरेक्ट करने का मौका मिलता है.
सर आप भी मलाड से ही हो ना? तो सर भी इनके ग्रुप में थे. तो सर आपको कैसा लगा? आप फर्स्ट टाइम आए थे?
हाँ, फर्स्ट टाइम था. अच्छा था. फंडामेंटली वाला फर्स्ट टाइम है. मैं जनरली टेक्निकली फॉलो करता हूँ.
ओके. और सर आप आते रहते हो ना? आप?
हाँ, मैं तीसरी बार आया हूँ.
राइट.
फॉर्मेट मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है. नॉलेज अच्छा है. सीरियस इन्वेस्टर्स हैं. नेटवर्किंग बहुत अच्छी है.
राइट. तो आप लोग बेसिकली स्टॉक का नाम लेने आए थे, देखने आए थे, या फिर कुछ अलग चीज सोच के आए थे?
We came to know the proper process, how to find a multi-baggers, how to find a growth stocks.
आइडियाज को सीखने के लिए और किस तरह की थॉट प्रोसेस है, और जो वहाँ पर लोग थे वो सारे मैच्योर्ड इन्वेस्टर्स,
हाँ मैच्योर्ड इन्वेस्टर,
दे शेयर्ड देयर एक्सपीरियंस,
या
तो क्या फिलॉसफी है, क्या मार्केट में अच्छा चल रहा है, उसके ऊपर उन्होंने शेयर किया और बहुत अच्छी नेटवर्किंग थी।
करेक्ट। और लास्ट में जब हम लोग निकले ना, तभी वो मोहित करके एक लड़का है, उसका स्टॉक का नाम लेना बाकी था। तो कौन सा स्टॉक था उसका, आप लोग को पता था शायद, आप बोल रहे थे लास्ट में मोहित? विंडलास बायोटेक। बाकी सारे तो स्टॉक्स के जो भी नाम थे वो मैंने आप लोगों के साथ शेयर कर लिए। देखो अभी अगेन ये वो बात नहीं है कि आपको स्टॉक का नाम मिल गया तो आप कल उठ के वो स्टॉक को खरीद लो। आप समझो वो स्टॉक को क्यों सिलेक्ट किया गया, क्या कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स है उसमें, क्या उसका बिजनेस प्रोफाइल है, क्यों वो कंपनी अच्छी है, ये सारी चीज़ों को ध्यान रखना चाहिए। और भी एक हमारे भाई थे ना, आपके साथ और एक भाई थे ना, वो वहाँ पे कहीं पे बैठे हैं शायद, फ़ोन चार्ज कर रहे हैं मेरे ख्याल से। तो बस यही था। और श्याम शेखर जी थे ना, राइट, वो श्याम शेखर, उन्होंने एक बहुत अच्छी बात बोली कि जब मार्केट ख़राब होता है ना, दैट इज़ द राइट टाइम टू आपके पोर्टफोलियो को वापस से रीस्ट्रक्चर करो। जैसे बहुत ख़राब स्टॉक्स है जो अभी आपको ऐसा लगता है कि इसमें हमारा कॉन्फिडेंस लो है और आप किसी रीज़न से उसको पकड़ के बैठे थे, तो उसको बेच के कोई ऐसे स्टॉक में एंटर हो जाओ जो क्वालिटी वाला स्टॉक है और जिसके फंडामेंटल्स अच्छे हैं। अगर आपको समझता है तो वो देखो, अदरवाइज जो टेक्निकली भी ज़्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग है। तो जब मार्केट रिकवर होगा तो आपका लॉस जल्दी से रिकवर होगा। तो ये एक अच्छी बात थी। तो यस, ओवरऑल इवेंट पूरा अच्छा था। और आज के ब्लॉग में आप लोगों को मेरे बात करने से ज़्यादा जो इवेंट का जो भी फुटेज था वो मैंने आप लोगों को दिखाया। तो आप लोगों को अगर आज का ब्लॉग अच्छा लगा है तो लाइक और शेयर ज़रूर करिए। अभी मैं आगे कोई वीडियो नहीं बनाऊंगा क्योंकि अभी हमारी शायद बोर्डिंग चालू हो जाएगी 2-3 मिनट में, फिर हम मुंबई पहुंचेंगे और फिर वहां से घर, तो कोई एनर्जी बचेगी भी नहीं अभी ब्लॉग बनाने के लिए। तो बस अगर आपको पसंद आया तो लाइक और शेयर करिए। अगर आप हमारे चैनल पे नए हो तो सब्सक्राइब ज़रूर करिए। मैं मिलूँगा आप लोगों को ऐसे ही कोई नेक्स्ट ब्लॉग में, तब तक के लिए बाय बाय।